In a bustling city lived a man named Theodore, a name that echoed power and wealth. His mansion was a fortress of luxury, a testament to a fortune so vast it seemed endless. Yet, despite his riches, a profound emptiness gnawed at him. He saw wealth not as a blessing, but as a weapon, a tool to display his superiority over others. Every day, he would stand on his balcony, gazing down at the city, a sneer playing on his lips as he watched the common folk scurry about their lives. He believed his success was purely his own doing, a product of his sharp mind and relentless ambition. There was no room for faith or gratitude in his heart, only a cold, hard pride. Not far from Theodore's opulent estate, in a humble cottage that seemed to lean on its neighbors for support, lived a man named Samuel. His home was simple, his meals were modest, and his possessions were few. But Samuel possessed a treasure far greater than anything Theodore owned, an unwavering faith. Every morning he would greet the dawn with a prayer of thanks, and every evening he would end his day with a heart full of gratitude. He worked as a humble gardener, tending to the city's parks, and though his hands were calloused and his back often ached, his spirit was light and his smile was genuine. He believed that every good thing came from a higher power and that his struggles were simply tests to strengthen his soul. One scorching summer afternoon, a severe drought had gripped the city for weeks. The sun beat down mercilessly, and the once green parks Samuel so lovingly tended began to wither. Theodore, from his air-conditioned mansion, watched with amusement. He had vast underground reservoirs, and his own gardens remained lush and vibrant. He scoffed at the sight of people praying for rain, calling them fools for placing their hope in the unseen. He even threw a lavish party showcasing his endless supply of water, deliberately letting fountains spray high into the arid air, a blatant display of his immunity to the city's plight. Meanwhile, Samuel's heart ached for the dying plants and the thirsty people. He didn't have a private reservoir. His small well was nearly dry. Yet his faith did not waver. He gathered his neighbors, who were equally desperate, and together they knelt in the parched town square. They didn't pray for their own relief, but for the well-being of the entire city. Samuel led the prayer, his voice steady and full of conviction. "We trust in your timing and your wisdom," he said, his eyes closed. "We place our worries in your hands." Theodore watched this scene from his balcony and laughed aloud. "Look at those desperate fools," he sneered to his guests. Singing to an empty sky. That very night, as Theodore slept in his silken sheets, a strange and unsettling dream visited him. He dreamt he was in a vast, barren desert, the same scorching sun beating down on him. His throat was parched, his lips cracked. He saw his mansion in the distance, but no matter how fast he ran, it seemed to get farther away. He cried out for water, but his voice was just a hoarse whisper. Suddenly, a figure appeared before him. It was Samuel, holding a simple wooden cup filled with clear, cool water. In the dream, Theodore's pride vanished, replaced by a desperate thirst. He fell to his knees, begging for a sip. Samuel smiled kindly and offered him the cup. As Theodore drank, the water was the most refreshing thing he had ever tasted, and the desert around him slowly transformed into a beautiful, lush garden. Theodore awoke with a jolt, his heart pounding. The dream felt so real, so profound. He rushed to his window, and to his astonishment, he saw dark clouds gathering in the night sky. A gentle drizzle began to fall, which soon turned into a steady, life-giving rain. The sound of the rain was like a symphony to the parched city. People poured out of their homes, dancing and celebrating in the streets. From his balcony, Theodore saw Samuel and his neighbors, not dancing, but standing with their faces turned to the sky, their hands clasped in quiet gratitude. For the first time, Theodore felt a crack in his armor of pride. He watched Samuel, a man with nothing, who seemed to have everything. The dream, the rain, the sight of pure, unadulterated joy and gratitude, it all converged in his mind, sparking a powerful realization. His wealth had isolated him, turning his heart to stone. It hadn't brought him the happiness he saw on the faces of the people below. The next morning, Theodore walked out of his mansion, not in his expensive car, but on foot. He made his way to Samuel's humble cottage. Samuel was outside, joyfully tending to a small patch of flowers that had already begun to revive. He looked up and smiled, recognizing the city's richest man. "Good morning," Samuel said warmly, without a hint of awe or intimidation. "Isn't this rain a wonderful gift?" Humbled, Theodore looked at the poor man he had once scorned. "Samuel," he began, his voice uncharacteristically soft, I came to thank you." Samuel looked puzzled. "Thank me? For what?" Theodore took a deep breath. "For teaching me something my money could never buy. You prayed for the city while I mocked it. You showed gratitude while I showed arrogance. Your faith is stronger than my fortune." From that day on, Theodore was a changed man. He opened his reservoirs to the public, used his wealth to help rebuild the community, and funded projects to ensure the city would never face such a crisis again. He spent time with Samuel, learning not about business or investment, but about faith, humility, and the simple joy of a grateful heart. Theodore learned that true wealth isn't measured by what you have, but by what you give, and that the greatest riches are the ones you can't see. The proud rich man and the faithful poor man became unlikely friends, a living testament to the idea that a humble heart is more valuable than all the gold in the world. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that inspires. See you next time.